The rain had already been falling for hours, washing the city's tired streets in silver. Inside a small apartment on the edge of downtown, Maya tied her hair into a messy bun and looked at her aunt, Salma, lying on the couch. Her aunt's hand pressed against her forehead, fever burning through her body. "You can't go to work like this," Maya said, her voice filled with worry. Salma coughed weakly. "I have no choice, Beta. If I don't show up, they'll deduct my pay again." Maya bit her lip, glancing at the clock. The old wall fan hummed, slicing through the silence. For the last 6 months, Maya had been trying to find a steady job after graduating. But the bills kept stacking up like bricks of worry. Her aunt had raised her after her parents' death, working 2 cleaning jobs just to keep them afloat. "I'll go instead," Maya said suddenly. Salma's tired eyes widened. "No, Maya. You can't. That hotel, they have rules. You're not even registered." "I'll wear your uniform," Maya insisted, already pulling open the drawer. "Just for 1 shift. You need rest." "I'll manage." Her aunt tried to protest, but Maya's determination was a force of nature. Within 20 minutes, Maya was standing at the bus stop in Salma's oversized cleaner uniform, the name badge reading Salma A. The rain had stopped, leaving the air damp and fresh. Her heart raced as she clutched her small bag. She had never been inside the Regal Heights Hotel before, the city's most luxurious landmark, where millionaires dined and royalty sometimes stayed. When she stepped inside, her breath caught. The hotel's lobby glittered like a dream. Chandeliers hung like captured stars, and marble floors gleamed beneath soft golden lights. Every sound was gentle, polite laughter, the rustle of designer clothes, the distant melody of a piano. Maya felt completely out of place. She approached the housekeeping desk, trying to remember what her aunt had told her about her duties. "I'm here to cover for Salma," she said nervously. The supervisor barely looked up. "Ah yes, you're on the 15th floor. Room 1503, VIP suite. Guest checked out this morning. Go clean before the next one arrives." Maya nodded quickly, clutching the cleaning trolley like it was her shield. The elevator ride felt endless. When the doors opened, she found herself in a hallway lined with dark wood panels and soft carpet that smelled of jasmine and money. She whispered to herself, "Okay, Maya, just clean, and go home." She pushed open room 1503. The suite was breathtaking. A panoramic window looked out over the city skyline, curtains of cream silk fluttering in the breeze. There were crystal glasses on the table, half filled with champagne. The air smelled faintly of cologne and mystery. Maya began her work silently, folding sheets, dusting corners, humming softly to keep calm. It was strange, even though she was supposed to be invisible here, she felt oddly peaceful. She wiped the marble counter, lost in her thoughts. Then the door clicked. She froze. Someone entered. A man stepped in, tall, composed, wearing a dark tailored suit that screamed wealth and power. His eyes, sharp and intelligent, landed on her instantly. Maya's breath caught again. She could tell from his aura alone that he wasn't an ordinary guest. "Oh, I'm sorry, sir," she stammered. "I thought this room was empty." He raised an eyebrow, a faint smile tugging at his lips. "You're cleaning, in high heels." Maya blinked and looked down. She had forgotten she'd worn her only decent pair of shoes, small black heels she used for interviews. These are all I have," she muttered. The man chuckled softly. "Most staff don't apologize this much." She felt her cheeks heat up. I'm new." He nodded slightly, studying her for a moment longer before walking toward the window. "You're doing a fine job. What's your name?" "Maya," she replied before realizing she should have said Salma. He turned to face her fully this time, his gaze lingering as if he were trying to place her face. "Maya," he repeated, like tasting the word. "A beautiful name." She didn't know how to respond. Her pulse fluttered like wings inside her chest. He looked out the window again. "You know, most people who work here never take the time to look at the view." "I wasn't sure if I was allowed to," she said honestly. "Rules are for people who've stopped dreaming," he replied. Something about his tone made her look up. His eyes were no longer cold or amused, they were distant, thoughtful, almost lonely. Before she could say anything more, the supervisor's voice echoed from the hallway, "Miss Maya. Are you done with the suite?" The man turned to her with a subtle smirk. Maya, huh? Not Salma. Her heart skipped a beat. He'd heard. It's my aunt's shift. She's sick. I just didn't want her to lose her pay, she confessed in a rush. For a moment, there was silence. Then, unexpectedly, he smiled, a genuine, warm smile that made her chest tighten. That's admirable. Most people wouldn't risk that for anyone. I just did what I had to, she said quietly. He extended a hand. Adrian Knight. She hesitated before shaking it. His grip was firm, his skin warm. Maya, she said again, her voice barely above a whisper. I'll remember that, he replied. When he left, she exhaled a breath she hadn't realized she'd been holding. Her heart was pounding. She didn't know that Adrian Knight was the hotel's owner, or that he would soon become the reason her entire world turned upside down. For hours after he left, Maya couldn't shake the strange electricity that lingered in the air. Every corner of the suite felt alive with the echo of his voice. Adrian Knight, she whispered to herself, replaying the way he'd said her name, softly, like a secret he meant to keep. She didn't know who he truly was, but the name alone sounded powerful, like it belonged to someone used to having doors open before him. She smiled faintly at the thought and shook her head. What are you thinking, Maya? He's a guest, someone from another world. When she finished her work, she rolled her trolley back down to the service area. Her hands were sore, her back ached, and her shoes had left blisters on her heels, yet she felt strangely fulfilled. Maybe it was the pride of helping her aunt. Maybe it was that mysterious man's kind smile. Salma. You did well today, the supervisor said absent-mindedly as she marked something on her clipboard. Guest in 1503 left a note, said the suite was spotless. Keep it up. Maya blinked. A note. Yes, on the table. The woman didn't even look up. Her heart skipped. She wanted to run back upstairs, but the elevator had already closed. On her way home that evening, she couldn't stop thinking about it. The rain had returned, thin and silver in the fading light, tapping gently against the bus window as she stared outside. When she reached home, her aunt was awake and worried. Maya. Where were you? You shouldn't have gone. Maya hugged her. It's fine, Auntie. I did the cleaning. Anne. I think it went well. Salma sighed with relief. You're too brave for your own good. Maya smiled softly, helping her aunt sit up and eat dinner. They talked about ordinary things, bills, groceries, dreams, but in the back of her mind, that name echoed again and again, Adrian Knight. 2 days later, Adrian couldn't focus on a single meeting. He sat in his glass-walled office at the top of the Knight International Tower, overlooking the same city skyline he had admired from the hotel window. His assistant, Clara, was reading a report, but her words blurred into background noise. Sir, the investors are requesting a new proposal for the... Clara, he interrupted, rubbing his temples. Do you ever meet someone who makes you forget what you were about to say? Clara blinked. Sir. He exhaled, half smiling. Never mind. He could still picture her, the cleaner with sharp eyes and a quiet strength. Not like the women he usually met at charity galas or corporate dinners. There had been something raw and real in her honesty. She hadn't tried to impress him. She'd simply been herself. That alone had left a mark. Without meaning to, he opened the hotel's internal guest feedback portal. Sure enough, his comment was still there, Suite 1503, immaculate service by staff named Maya. A rare gem among ordinary stars. He hadn't expected her to read it. But somehow, he hoped she had. Meanwhile, at the small apartment, Maya did find it, a neatly folded note tucked inside her aunt's housekeeping logbook when she returned the next day. She unfolded it slowly. To the one who cleaned with her heart, thank you. AK. Her fingers trembled slightly. She didn't know what AK stood for, but her heart already guessed. A warmth spread through her, confusing and exhilarating all at once. Maya, called the supervisor, startling her. You've been reassigned. Room 1702, private suite. Don't touch anything except what's on the list. She nodded quickly and rolled her trolley toward the elevator again. Her nerves fluttered as she reached the top floor. The hallway here was quieter, almost sacred. The air smelled faintly of cedar and citrus. When she entered room 1702, she froze. Adrian Knight was sitting there. Not as a guest, but like he owned the place. He was in a crisp white shirt, sleeves rolled up, tie loose. His jacket hung neatly over a chair. He looked up from his laptop, and a slow smile spread across his face. "Maya," he said simply, as if they'd been expecting each other all along. Her heart stumbled. You're here again." "I never left," he replied, leaning back slightly. "This is my suite." She blinked. "You live here." "I live everywhere, technically. But this is home for now." The realization struck her, he wasn't just another guest. The quiet confidence, the staff's respect, the way everyone seemed to move aside when he walked past, it all made sense. "You're the owner," she whispered. He smiled faintly. "So you did figure it out." Maya's throat went dry. "I shouldn't be here then, I should finish cleaning and leave." "Relax," he interrupted softly. "I requested you." She froze. "What?" "I asked the staff to send the girl from room 1503. He stood, walking closer. "I wanted to thank you properly." Her pulse quickened. "You already did." The note was enough. "Notes are cold," he said gently. "I prefer conversations." For a moment, their eyes met, hers filled with confusion and innocence, his with curiosity and quiet admiration. He gestured to the window. "Do you like the city?" Maya turned slightly. "It's beautiful from up here. But when you're on the ground, it feels different. Harder." He nodded. "Perspective changes everything." There was a pause, filled only by the hum of rain against the glass. Adrian studied her face, the faint tiredness in her eyes, the grace in the way she stood even in a cleaner's uniform. There was something rare in her presence. "Tell me," he said, almost in a whisper. "What would you do if you weren't here?" She looked down. "If I weren't cleaning? I'd probably be sketching. I used to love drawing. Used to. I had to stop. Life doesn't always let you choose." He nodded again, slowly, understanding more in silence than words could express. She turned back to her work, but her hands trembled. She wasn't used to being seen like this, like she mattered. As she finished wiping the counter, she felt his gaze still on her. "Thank you," he said finally. "For what?" "For reminding me that there are still people who do things for love, not gain." Her chest ached. She wanted to say something, but words failed her. Instead, she smiled, soft and uncertain. "You're welcome." That night, as Maya walked home under the rain once more, she couldn't stop smiling. She didn't know where this strange connection would lead, only that for the first time in years, she felt alive. And somewhere high above the city, Adrian Knight stood by the same window, watching the streets below, thinking of the girl who cleaned his world without even knowing she'd changed it.